What's going on, boys? Happy belated 9/11. I hope you all gave war a chance on this fine day. Yesterday's fine day. I had to script this one out a bit. We're doing our normal shtick, yet again, Reflections on Hell, but now, as always, with new information from a different angle, aligning the stars a little differently. Again, cycles of brackets, negative emotion is some real shit. We'll start off with the first point, a quote by Russell Brand. If our solutions were inside our own heads, we would have found them by now. He goes on to discuss how the answers, your answers, are found among other people. Now, in reality, the answers and the solutions are neither in your head nor among other people. You'll find answers and solutions specific to both, in both, but the whatever it is you're looking for aren't in either. In my experience, the inward search gets you nowhere you want to be, maybe gets you where you should be, never gets you where you want to be, unless you can figure out how to monetize it somehow. And the outward search, looking for answers in other people, always leaves me more confused, frustrated, and hurt each time I try. But in either case, what is it you're looking for? That brings us to leg 2. I've been playing a lot of Warhammer 3 lately, and I was a big fan of Warhammer 2. I love Warhammer Fantasy in general. And I noticed a pattern in my faction and leader preference. I love Throg, Tretch, Queek, Nakai, Be'lakor, and Yuri, kind of, but I need more time to sit with him. Azag is another favorite, but he doesn't exactly fit the theme of what I'm talking about. Now, what do all these leaders have in common? They're individuals who became strong and or smart in response to getting screwed over, and now they are exercising their will, using their strength and or intelligence to get whatever it is they want from the world. Book Throg gets cursed with sentience and develops a hatred for humans, one for being treated like a monster, and 2, because humans are not as noble as they claim to be. I don't like playing Norska much, but I feel my troll brethren. And his physique is perfect. Absolutely abominable. Tretch. Runty little Skaven. Rat person. Everyone wants him dead, so they send him out leading a suicide mission. He comes back alive and alone. But somehow, mission accomplished. But they still want him dead, so they do it again. Again, he comes back alive and alone with the mission accomplished. So they do it again, and again, and again. Each time he comes back alive, alone, and with the mission accomplished. He survives using cowardice and trickery. He might be the most Skaven there is. But, of course, all he wants to be known for is bravery, not even a Skaven trait. So he uses his master level flight and noggin to try to convince people he's brave, even though that's not even a desirable trait in his society. I vibe with that. Queek, another Skaven, complete opposite. He's huge for a Skaven, brutal, even by Skaven standards, brave, and actually loyal. which is just about a bad word in Skaven society. Loyalty, real loyalty, is to be frowned on. He wants to stab people in the back the way he's supposed to, but he can't bring himself to, and he doesn't understand why, and it irritates him. He hates that most advancement in Skaven society comes from trickery. He hates trickery, and he hates that he hates trickery. And in the end, Princess Skaven's story, Queek learns love and loyalty are desirable, even if all of Skaven society is geared to let neither happen, even though he is a technically evil character still. Good is good if it's good for me. If you're a Skaven, Queek is good. I think. Good for a Skaven. Nakai, my muscles are too big for you to be telling me what to do, but I will still lend a hand because I am a good person, or a good alligator thing. Be'lakor, absolute unit and edgelord, but how couldn't you be after what Be'lakor went through? Refuses to let people beat him, even though he always gets beaten. Also, to tell someone you did it for yourself and mean it and be right about it in an inarguable way, that's brutal. But that's why I like him. Yuri at any point could have said no and done the right thing, but he didn't. Yuri, because he's cool, makes me think of the Shadow taking over. Need more time to sit with him. Another absolute unit who can change things. And then finally, Azag. Schizo in chief. He didn't take his meds, he listened to little voices in his head, developed untold magical power and strategic insight, especially for an orc, and became a frightening and effective, organized leader. Interesting take on the orc archetype, or the Warhammer orc archetype. And while we went on a brief tangent to discuss these characters because I like them, they're all strong and cunning enough to exercise their will in usually a straightforward way and make it work. I think what I'm looking for in this realm is any way to make the individual will effective in a straightforward way. But that doesn't work. Individual will doesn't matter no matter how strong or knowledgeable you are. Third leg, Hemingway. Hemingway was a sensitive World War I era clinical sad boy. His father shot himself, his mother had issues, and they had a bad relationship. Despite the tough guy front Hemingway put up, all the crazy things he did, he was a deeply depressed person. It wasn't just World War I, but World War I, other life experiences, and modernity in general taught Hemingway individual will is weak in the face of everything else. The world is overpowering, unfair, and dishonest. He coped with those feelings by trying to be funny and tough. However, of all the crazy adrenaline junkie things he'd done and seen, bullfighting stuck out to him as different. I recommend reading Death in the Afternoon if you can get through it. It's a weird book. I had a hard time with it, which is odd for Hemingway. It's a book trying to do many different things. It's one part trying to explain bullfighting to people who don't understand it, are opposed to it, have never seen it, on a material, this is what's happening level, and on a spiritual, this is why it's important, this is how it feels level. Which is, anytime you try to do both, that's almost impossible to balance. It's another part Spanish travel book, it's another part Spanish history book, and a discussion on Spanish culture, at least at the time. And it's a series of anecdotes and reflections on those anecdotes. It's both dense and dry, but also scattered and important. I've been thinking about that book for a long time, and I think what it is, not just what it is, but what it is a flailing attempt to explain something you can't put in words. To people who would not be receptive anyway. Death in the Afternoon isn't a novel. His fans won't like it. People who don't like bullfighting are not going to like bullfighting, no matter how logical or spiritual you get. Spanish people already understand Spain, and anyone thinking of traveling to Spain would buy a dedicated Spanish travel book, not whatever this amalgamation is. And if I'm remembering correctly, his publisher was fucking with it, forcing him to take parts out. And if I'm not mistaken, you can still find those parts somewhere. They're scathing. The book is a mess, but I love it because you can feel how important bullfighting is to Hemingway. And why is bullfighting important to Hemingway? Will and catharsis, I think, are the two words. It's not just a fight, and bullfighting is a bad translation in English for what bullfighting is in Spanish, the word for it. It's a performance of will versus will, and the stakes are death. Because according to Hemingway, the best bullfighters don't just get in the ring and kill the bull. And the best bulls are not in any way weak or submissive. They've been bred and fed to be mean. I'm fucking it up and doing it a disservice explaining it this way, but it's will in the ring, it's catharsis in the audience. Performed well, a bullfight provides the audience catharsis. It taps into something pure humanity is losing, is almost completely gone. Hemingway never found this exact feeling with anything else. And it's religious, not just on the personal experience level, but actually religious. Mithraism. Christianity has a lot of Mithraism's guts stuffed into it. The Vatican is built over an old Mithraic temple. Bulls were central to Mithraism. We're trying to cut back on the M word, but if there is something on the spiritual or the cultural level for a ritualized, cathartic activity to tap into, bullfighting is it, and it does it. The importance and power of will. Something disappearing from humanity. The last good country. It might even be interdimensional, I should add. Hemingway believed in a fifth dimension. Also, side note cope for artists, how do you think Big Two-Hearted River Part 2 would be received, or would have been received, if it weren't written by Hemingway? It is a story without a story. A series of events and sensations and nothing more. And Hemingway is canonized. How do you think people would receive that story from a nobody? How do you think it feels writing something like that, knowing you're writing a story without a story? Now, Big Two-Hearted River is an important story, but my point is fame and success are context-oriented. Maybe your stories are important, but not yet. Coping, but it's true. Fourth leg. Space Demons in NATO sounds like a standard schizo fuck authority song, but I listened to a piano version and read the lyrics for the first time, and it hit different. Now, listening to a song versus reading the lyrics is a meme, but here it's thematic. And the lyrics transition us from just the death of individual will and toward morality. Space demons in NATO. They're rent-free in my head. They want us to be dead, and I don't care. 'Cause we deserve it all. Our conscience is so small, they're rightfully appalled by the human race. I recommend you listen to either version in full. It's a good song. I haven't made a video on ENFJs yet because I haven't found one example of a righteous ENFJ yet. I don't like doing negativity until I've seen enough good for something. However, or rather, because we are stuffing it into one of these life videos, hidden a little bit, something I learned. Doing the right thing means nothing if nobody sees. And then, from Patrice, karma doesn't exist. If you have any sort of ethic, you're the biggest idiot alive, and you'll go nowhere. Now, Patrice said that in a I hate that things are this way. Space demons. Humans are bad, and the human race deserves what's happening to it. We can always choose to do the right thing, but we don't. Most humans choose the wrong thing, and I suspect don't have any inkling there is a good thing or the right thing at all. If you choose to do the right thing, not only will you not be rewarded for it, but you will probably suffer. And if you do choose to do the right thing, you better make sure people know about it, otherwise it served no purpose. But thinking that way and acting that way at all about the right thing defeats the purpose of doing the right thing, at least in my opinion. But that is the case. You either do the wrong thing or don't do the right thing, and either benefit or avoid suffering, or you do the right thing in a slimy way, which shouldn't defeat the purpose, because there is no purpose, but it still does defeat the purpose, at least inside. Fifth leg. Today I had the opportunity to do the wrong thing, consequences free. Doing the right thing would be a hassle, and you you would be helping someone who is a bad person. Bad enough for there to be some notoriety in my area. However, I like the idea of the golden rule, so I went through the hassle and the stress to do what I think is the right thing. What I would want someone to do for me. But the entire time, I'm thinking, there is no point to this. Just because you uphold a value doesn't mean anyone else will. Nobody will reciprocate. There is no material benefit in doing this. In fact, you risk your personal health by trying to do this right thing. You will not get anything from this person. Nobody will help you in this way if you were ever in this situation. At least from the kindness of their own heart, anyway. Not without some kind of capital being exchanged. Right? You're trying to uphold the golden rule. This comes after a series of important instances of people not upholding the golden rule in your direction. The principal in my teaching video, he tried to break my leg, figuratively. He didn't need to do that. He could have said, no, and that would have been the end of it. Or he could have offered help. He didn't. I framed that video like I was giving up, but I didn't give up. Can't teach at the collegiate level, at least in any sustainable way. Can't teach at the high school level. Probably can't teach in any school setting, maybe, because unfortunately your record doesn't just carry your conviction, it carries your charges, and my charges are not pretty, and I would like to tell that story in full once I have enough money and security. I can live in a cabin somewhere rainy and mountainy away from human beings. Fuck cops and the way the justice system works. If you weren't aware, anyone can charge you with anything, and once you're charged, that charge follows you forever. And that doesn't include the fact cops are allowed to disable their recording devices when they think it's convenient. There is legal precedent against including anything that could be helpful to your case from the law enforcement side. They are not allowed to say anything helpful or even include anything helpful. That's called hearsay. But they are allowed to omit details and even invent them if you weren't aware. In reports supposed to be written by the person arresting you, written by somebody else, spelled the guy's name wrong. It's a fucking mess. Probably can't teach at any organization or public organization, whatever. So you go to teach at a para-education school. They promise you this number of hours. They give you 12.5% of those hours, while forcing you to attend all these extra meetings that are unpaid. Help them with tech support in an online school as they accuse you of having technical problems on your end, asking you to do one thing, fully prepared, just do this, it not being that, and needing to spend triple the 12.5% of the hours they gave you in hours to prepare for those 12.5% of hours you're getting, then for them to say you are not enthusiastic, upbeat, or jokey enough for our students, even though that was never a problem at any stage prior, and then finally for them to pay you for none of the work you did. None. I wonder why all of our new teachers are leaving. I can't imagine why. Why are you trying to do the right thing? Doing good will not make good come to you. In fact, you stand to lose for doing the right thing, trying to do the right thing. Trying to be good for other people will not make them good for you. You stand to lose. Why are you trying? Well, remember you are in hell. Your will doesn't matter. You have no ability to exercise your will in any good, meaningful way. Essentially, you have no real power. Your only real decision in life is whether you try to do what you understand to be the right thing or the wrong thing. Doing the right thing gets you nothing, and you will be punished by hell. But if you choose the wrong thing, you deserve the punishment that's coming. You get punished either way. There is no way out of it. Your only decision, your only power, is deciding whether or not you deserve it. Are you someone who tries to do the right thing because it's the right thing, even though you won't benefit and will probably pay for it? Or are you someone who chooses the wrong thing, or chooses nothing, chooses neither, and deserves exactly what you're getting. And you'll know these moments when they happen. Space demons and NATO lyrics. I can see them. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. I used to set up the outro screen manually each time. I am just now thinking to automate it on any level. And I'm thinking about reformatting the outro because I'm not usually using this space to say anything the way I used to. Like if you enjoyed, because it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact, you can accidentally cut it with your push mower and burn your eyes and skin and mess with your breathing for a second, because holy shit, hogweed is no joke. And I've never had that happen before. It's scared the Jesus out of me. I thought maybe I was hallucinating something. My nose was stinging. What the hell happened? Don't mess with hogweed. But it is interesting, and therefore fun, and that's how much we have on this channel. And I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.